Hey guys, Jake Paul here. I'm working with Paul Packaging.
Boom! Come on. Easy.
He's known for being in the public eye, but today YouTube star Jake Paul is making headlines after an FBI raid at his home in Calabasas.
I'm sure 90% of you know who Jake Paul is, probably one of the most hated creators on the site. And a main key factor why he's very hated on the platform is his other brother, Logan Paul, has learned from his mistakes. But Jake Paul, on the other hand, has not seemed to learn about all the mistakes he's done, and continues to hurt his reputation over time. Jake Paul first began popping off on Vine, and then got a spot on the Disney Channel, and then moved on as a vlogger on YouTube, but then had transitioned into promoting scam websites.
But also if you create a box and you refer it to a friend and your friend opens the box and they win something, you can actually make money back. So if you set a referral profit to 3%, then you can do it all the way up to 3% and you can actually make money back from this site.
And is now trying to transition into boxing as his main career. But his public figure is pretty much destroyed at this point. In this video, we're about to go through the rise and fall of Jake Paul, starting in the year 2006. Jake Paul first began shooting videos with his brother Logan Paul, and since this was in 2006, the quality was not that good. In these videos, they both recorded skits and homemade videos. But then something would change in 2007, as Jake Paul and his brother were watching the rising stars Smosh. As they were watching Smosh, they really wanted to create videos similar to them, as Smosh was doing skits too. So this led to the creation of Jake Paul and his brother's first YouTube channel on November 23rd, 2007, as their channel was called Zoosh, as a ring-off from Smosh. And they made a second YouTube channel, Zeus Extras, which mainly consisted of Jake Paul's brother Logan Paul, which was created in 2008, which was then followed by them making their first ever merch.
How's it going? This is Zeus. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, we opened an online store. It's called Zeus. I'll put the link on the side.
But because they were copying from Smosh and they were very young, it didn't really perform that well. Now fast forward to when Jake Paul was transferring from middle school to high school, his parents had divorced and his dreams of becoming a YouTube star was starting to fade out of the spotlight. But this didn't deteriorate Jake Paul, as he kept himself active and joined his high school wrestling team with his brother. Jake Paul had then gave YouTube another shot in 2013 with his brother, and these videos consisted with a lot of skits and pranks. But in March of 2013, Jake Paul would find the platform where he would really get big off from. A video sharing platform that had so much potential in it. A platform that was basically the first Musical.ly. This is of course Vine. Jake Paul and his brother began making short videos on Vine, and they both had their own separate accounts. They then continued with their goofy humor, which everyone found funny, and Jake Paul was getting millions of people viewing his vines he was making. Jake Paul was then offered a bunch of brand deals, some being upwards to $1,000. Jake Paul had then created a separate YouTube account, which is the now popular Jake Paul channel, which at the time was called Jake Paul Productions, and posted a few of his vines there. And when Jake Paul was 17, he was already making more money than his parents financially, and began to start having fans meet up with him outside. So to pursue this career for Jake Paul, Jake and his brother Logan Paul had moved to LA, as Logan finished his freshman year of college, and while Jake was there, he was forming a friendship group. While being here, he also wanted to be an actor. After he had failed a bunch of auditions, in 2015 he began to start taking a bunch of acting classes. After a lot of hard work and a bunch of practice, he began to start doing really good at his acting auditions. He began getting offers into low-budget movies. He then was able to get into one of Disney's shows, Bizaardvark. And with his goofy sense of humor, he was able to get into one of the perfect roles as the characters in the show, Dirk. And Jake Paul was pretty much done with high school. So while being done with high school, his main focus was Bizaardvark. Jake Paul was putting crazy amounts of hours into the show, upwards to 60 hours per week on the show. And then around this time, Jake Paul had then began making videos on the Jake Paul Productions channel, and as well still uploading vines. At the beginning of 2016, Jake Paul started a group called Teamdom, as he was collaborating with other big creators, and Jake Paul really wanted to be known as a business owner. Jake Paul wanted to collaborate with smaller creators, and then he wanted to boost their social media size, so he began collaborating with other creators who were a lot smaller than him. Jake Paul first collaborated with the Dobre brothers, and got them from around 30k subscribers to 500,000 subscribers.
And we have a special guest today, Jake Paul.
Guys, no, I'm here. I made it.
And he began to start recruiting more creators. Jake Paul began opening up more social media accounts so he could get more people to know him. But Jake's YouTube upload schedule was decreasing because the Bizarre show had aired on June 24th, 2016, which meant he did not have that much time to make YouTube videos. So when the Bizarre show aired, Jake's audience had shown up to the Disney Channel show, and Jake's audience was young as 5 years old, way too young to even use social media. And as Jake had stated himself, he had said when his fans had grown up, they would remain loyal fans. With this, Jake Paul had began building up Team 10 with other content creators. And a little misconception is Team 10 features 7 people. It's called Team 10 because Team stands for Teen Entertainment and Media. And the 10 stands for 10 digits for $1 billion, which was how much Jake Paul wanted to sell Teamdom for. So Jake Paul had introduced his brand new house, which would be later known as the Team 10 house, which was a house for all of the members to live in. A month later, Team 10 opened up their own YouTube channel and had uploaded a video where they introduced all of the members.
Team 10? Team 10 is a family.
It's just like the best family.
Really, I love everyone here, and I have so much fun filming with everyone.
So Team 10 is family. We are family.
It's a group of people who live together. You can call it a squad if you want to.
But of course, there were rules in the house. Any guest would have to be approved by Jake Paul, and there was no alcohol or weed. So from here on, Jake Paul was getting widely recognized and was getting a lot of brand deals through 2016. But the thing was, Jake Paul was not getting that many views. He was getting around 20 to 30,000 views each video. So Jake Paul began talking and reaching out to many other vloggers to see what he could do different and to innovate. It was announced on October 8th, 2016 that Jake Paul will be switching to vlogging daily. Jake Paul had also hired an editor, so this meant that Jake Paul had more free time to record his vlogs.
I'm doing this. Vlogging. This is big, guys. I'm gonna be daily vlogging. Actually, we're gonna be daily vlogging. I don't know how to go about this, to be honest.
And Jake's views quickly went up. And it was safe to say that Jake Paul was highly involved in a lot of projects. He was involved in Teamdom, Team 10, Bizarre, Vine, and all of his social medias and his vlogs. He had previously started vlogging in 2014, but his new style of vlogs in 2016 stood him out from the crowd. And when Jake would make the clickbait titles and thumbnails, this would make his videos get more views. He began incorporating pranks with Team 10. Some videos that he would do is clickbaiting the trend clown sighting, which was big in 2016. And all of this began to start putting his content into different categories: pranks, over sexualization, and horror videos. And his sexualization content would make his videos do the best, which I guess is not all that great considering that Jake's audience is mostly 10-year-olds. So Jake Paul found what will get him the most views on his videos. He did the classic clickbait title and thumbnail. Another thing that Jake did was in the first few seconds of his videos, he would show the most intense part for a couple seconds.
Yeah, push on his chest, Oh
my god.
Alyssa, do
I don't know what to do, I've never done this before.
give him mouth to mouth, pull his mouth.
and this will make the kids want to stick around for the video. And the reason that this worked was because when the kids would click on the video and an intense part would show up, it would make them want to stick around for the video for them to see that part of the video, and this would give Jake more watch time and more views. And this made Jake Paul begin to average around 1 million views per video. With this, on December 2nd, 2016, the Jake Paul channel had reached 1 million subscribers, making him one of the fastest growing channels of all time. And on the other hand, Vine had been shut down on Twitter, and many Vine fans were migrating onto YouTube, but Jake Paul already had an audience from Vine over to YouTube. And at the start of 2017, many other creators were invited to visit the White House in Washington, D.C. And to up his videos, Jake was not only just visiting the White House, he had planned to stay overnight at the house.
4 in the morning, like, they're gonna be like, what are you doing? We saw you here earlier.
When Jake had uploaded this video, the White House security team took notice and paid a visit to the Team 10 house. With this, Jake Paul was able to do a little mini-series out of this, and this bring in even more views and more watch time, and in January of 2017, Jake Paul was almost at 2 million subscribers. And with this publicity, Jake Paul was able to go on national television and do interviews. And Jake Paul also brought in a few more creators into Team 10, and through 2017, there were a lots of pranks involved into Team 10. Jake continued uploading these really high quality edited vlogs every single day. The last few members Jake brought into Team 10 were Chance and Anthony, a few friends he met back during the Vine days. And then in August of 2017, Jake Paul had won the Teen Choice Awards.
Jake Paulers, let's go! Number 1, baby!
And it looked like Jake and Disney were on very good terms. However, this would all change. Jake's videos started shifting to more intense content, more so the type of videos he began uploading. On the 19th of May 2017, Jake Paul had uploaded a video titled Kissing Content Me versus My Dad. And in the video, well, I'll just let the video play itself.
Good job! Okay, that concludes our contest today of who's the best kisser. Down to one last thing, the vote. So I know it's probably very tough.
Jake Paul's dad, Greg Paul, is seen making out with an underage girl. And ever since then, people in the YouTube community have always used this to label Jake Paul's father, Greg Paul, as a creep. And not many people liked this. Many people in the community were questioning why they made this video, questioning why they had Greg Paul kissing a blindfolded underage girl. However, this would pass by. However, on May 30th, 2017, Jake Paul had uploaded a music video with Team 10 called It's Everyday Bro.
Y'all don't know what's about to happen, baby. Team 10. Los Angeles, Cali boy. But I'm from Ohio, though. White boy. It's everyday, bro, with the Disney Channel flow.
In this video to this day, it holds a 37% like to dislike ratio. Despite the amount of dislikes the video got, the video gave Jake Paul even more publicity. The video to this day has over 200 million views. And the most controversial part in the music video is when Nick Crumpet, the CEO of Team 10, said England is my city.
England is my city, and if it weren't for Team 10...
Dumbass! England is not a city. You're from England and you said England is a city.
And this music video began to push Jake Paul out there more. PewDiePie, which was the largest creator on the site, reacted to It's Everyday Bro.
Shooting with the gun, the tattoo just for fun.
Did he get a tattoo of a dick on his leg?
Keemstar reported on it. And the same day the video was up, Jake Paul was already over 5.6 million subscribers. And many people began doing reaction videos on it, doing nothing but giving him more exposure and more views. So from here on, Jake Paul began doing a few more other music videos. Even though mainly all of his music videos get destroyed with dislikes, it gives him a lot of views. But then this began to create a problem. When Jake and Team 10 began uploading music videos, people began calling them cringy and calling his music videos trash. Especially It's Everyday Bro, as Jake Paul began getting the hate for it. Jake Paul was trying to say that Everyday Bro was just a joke and don't take it serious.
There's been a lot of like backlash on the song, which is completely fine. Like, haters are gonna hate. But I do want to just say, like, again, it's a joke. Like, I'm not a rapper. PewDiePie has so much more clout than I do. Like, yes, I get more views than him sometimes, but like, he has literally like 20 times more subscribers than I do. And so again, I thought people would like take it as a joke. I thought it was funny again. Like, I was making the video for myself, and all these videos are for myself.
Or was it really a joke? Or was Jake Paul just trying to say this so he can stop getting hate? Because Jake probably wanted to genuinely make a good music video. On June 1st, Rice Gum, who was another content creator, had uploaded a video with Jake Paul's ex-girlfriend Alyssa Violent. And there was a text that Rice Gum had showed of a commitment that Alyssa Violent had made towards Jake Paul.
She's literally on Team 10 because of me. Like, nobody wanted to sign her, and like legit, I had to convince everyone to sign her.
So why is she backstabbing you in this song?
This is Team 10, bitch. Who the hell up flipping you? And you know I kick them out if they ain't with the crew.
See, and then he like kicked you out or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kicked you out. And then watch this.
Yeah, I'm talking about you begging for attention, talking shit on Twitter too.
And then you guys had like an argument on Twitter of you guys like just talking shit back and forth.
Yeah.
So that was about you?
100%.
But you still hit my phone last night. It was 4:52 and
Don't tell me you texted him yesterday at 4:52. Is he talking about you again? You did text him.
Yeah, I said I will always be here for you even if you don't want me to be.
Yeah, and you're being nice to him.
I wanted to...
Why is he being so mean to you?
And then a couple days later, Rice Gum had uploaded a diss track on Jake Paul called It's Every Night Sis featuring Alyssa Violent. And Rice Gum received an 80% rating on his video. And a lot younger audience would assume that this beef was real. But a mature and older audience would know that this was all fake and just for views. However, things would get more real. As of on June 8th, Alyssa Violent had uploaded a video called What You've All Been Waiting For, and she went into way more detail into why she was removed from Team 10, and just exposing all of the bad things that Jake Paul has done.
Around November of 2015, I was living in the model apartments. I had to move out of there. Jake was like, why don't you just move in with me? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be lit, let's do it. And I move in with him, sleeping in the same bed, basically together at this point, but without a title. But then he would always have girls over in front of me, and I was just like, what the frick? So then we're not together. But then he would like play all these mind games with me and just be like, yo, like don't get mad, having a girl over. And he did that like 25,000 times. I would be like in our room, like editing or doing something, and then all of a sudden he'd like walk in and be like, yo, like can you leave please for like 2 hours? Like, can you go upstairs? Or can you just like leave for a little bit? And I was like, why? He's like, oh, like I'm having a girl over. We're gonna hang out in here. Okay. I was heartbroken. So he flew out this girl from Ohio, right? She walks in the door, I have to like be like, oh hi, yeah, nice to meet you, whatever. I'm like a bitch. I'm like literally a bitch. Like I don't mean to be, but like dude, you're smashing the guy I'm like in love with. And I would be like downstairs in the kitchen, like making breakfast or something. I'd just get back from the gym, I'd be cooking food, and then all of a sudden I'd hear them upstairs like I could hear it. I could literally hear it. Like, do you know what that does to a person that you like love, and then you could just hear them like banging another girl upstairs? And that's happened so many times. Like, it's not, something clicks in your head. Like, you want to kill someone, but you want to cry and you want to get revenge, but you can't. It's like so hard to explain. Like, if you hear it, if you like physically hear this going on, it makes you crazy. It makes you go insane. I was literally insane. Like, I couldn't even think straight. So I would just go upstairs to my bathroom or my bedroom, and I would just cry myself to sleep, like night after night. And then I'd wake up the next morning and I'd have to like say goodbye to these girls, or I'd have to like see him. I'd have to see his face day after day and be on camera, be like, hi guys, guys. And then like the second the camera was off, I hated him, but I loved him at the same time. And then he would try to make it all better, and like everyone knew it wasn't better, and I was doing it to myself. I should have moved out, but I didn't. Now looking back at this whole situation, I really don't know if I loved him. I don't know how I could love a person that treats someone like that. I don't know if I was in love with him or the idea of him or who I thought he was. I think I was just addicted to the pain of wanting someone so unattainable. I loved getting hurt by him. Like, that's how much I cared about him. And he would hurt me day after day. And then we'd have to be on camera. And it's just not a good situation.
Alyssa Violent had made an 18-minute video exposing Jake Paul. And to get Jake Paul jealous, Alyssa Violent had slept with Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul. And you could argue saying that Logan Paul was in the wrong for doing this, but at the same time, Jake Paul was in the wrong.
I finally treated him the way that he was treating me, and he didn't like it. He got pissed and kicked me out. Like the one time I decided to be savage like him, and it ended with me being homeless. And I was so shocked. I was so heartbroken. I never thought that someone could be so malicious and evil to kick me out of the house after I've done everything for them, helped them build an empire, a huge company, making them so much money. I don't understand how they could do that. So that was back in February, and it is now June. I'm still like not over it. I lost all my friends. Like when all that happened, everyone kind of went to Jake's side because they're in contract with him and because of, I don't know why, I really don't. And I lost all of my friends. I had nowhere to live, and Chantal was sweet enough to offer her apartment until I got my own.
This video began people hating on Jake Paul, and Jake Paul began forming into one of the most disliked creators on the platform. And as Alyssa Violent wasn't out with Jake Paul, she was getting with FaZe Banks. And as because of his big jealousy over this, he began clickbaiting with the other content creator, Erica Castell. And as he kept making clickbait videos, he was getting a lot of views. And he hosted a fake parody marriage. After all the fakeness, Erica Castell and Jake Paul would eventually become together. However, all of this would be only the start for the downfall of Jake Paul. On June 9th, 2017, Logan Paul had uploaded a diss track on Jake Paul called The Fall of Jake Paul, where it was featuring Alyssa Violent. And at the end of the music video, it showed Logan Paul and Alyssa Violent kissing. And after Jake Paul made a reaction video out of it, at the end of the video, you could really see that he was really bothered by it. Also, going back a few months prior, Jake Paul's address was accidentally leaked by a Team 10 member trying to set up a business account. And as they kept trying to remove this, many fans kept reposting it. And many of Jake Paul's fans began showing up to the house. And many of Jake Paul's neighbors began having complications with him because they did not like all the obnoxious loudness at his house. There was even one point when Jake Paul set a fire in his backyard, and all of the Jake Paul fans were surrounding his house and they were blocking all the roads and traffic. And there was one occasion when the cops were called, and there were even some people wanting to file a lawsuit against Jake Paul for this. And this was even put onto the news.
Tonight, residents in a West Hollywood neighborhood are angry. They say they've had enough of the chaos created by a social media star known for his crazy antics. That man, Jake Paul, has 8.5 million followers on YouTube.
As neighbors, though, say that he's been filming dangerous stunts and he's putting people in danger. Chris Wolf is live in West Hollywood tonight with a story you will see only here on 5. Chris?
And Jake Paul even at one point climbed onto the news van. And all in all, in my opinion, Jake Paul was just being a flat-out dickhead. And would you know it, many other people were using the Greg Paul situation as a way to make Jake Paul look bad. H3H3 even made a video on Jake Paul. And from all of this, Jake Paul was leaving Bizarrevark. Disney had claimed that it was a mutual breakup as he left mid-season. However, was it really a mutual breakup? Or was it something more sinister? Was it the fact that Jake Paul was getting negative attention? Jake Paul did something rather serious. Mag Zelly, the assistant of Jake Paul, had made an acquisition that FaZe Banks had physically abused her, showing off multiple bruises. After a lot of argument from Rice Gum, Alyssa Violent, and FaZe Banks, Jake Paul had removed the video of where they were accusing Banks. And it was weird why he removed this video. If someone actually abused your assistants, you would leave the video up for everyone to see to make that other person look bad. However, this was the opposite for Jake. And FaZe Banks gained over 200,000 subscribers that day, while on the other hand, Jake Paul had lost around 80,000 subscribers in 24 hours. And one of the members who was once a part of Team 10 was defending Banks for this. And FaZe Banks was pretty much confirmed that he was innocent, and this once again held a loss for Jake. And Jake Paul really wanted to do something to make his image look a little bit better. During the time when Hurricane Harvey hit Louisiana and Texas, Jake Paul had announced that he was going down there to see what he can do to help. At first, this sounds very good of Jake to do. However, all the workers had said to not get in the way and do not show up to Louisiana and Texas as it was full of water and it was messed up and backed up. So Jake Paul had announced that he was going to a Walmart parking lot to donate all the supplies. The moment he arrived, a large group of fans, unorganized, began to swarm Jake Paul's car. And Jake Paul was in a Walmart parking lot and there was a lot of people there. And it was a huge mess and there was many fans piling onto Jake's vehicle. And there were even times when the fans were falling off the vehicle while the vehicle was moving. But on the bright side, Jake Paul was able to donate supplies towards Hurricane Harvey. But one problem was the trucks trying to get the supplies out couldn't get through all the fans. But then the next video he uploaded was a rather different video, as it showed Jake Paul actually rescuing people who were stuck in their house. He was even rescuing animals, and he raised a lot of money for the hurricane. And just a couple days later, Jake Paul had received his 10 million subscriber plaque. And it looked like Jake Paul's public image was starting to come back again. He began doing more drama videos with Rice Scum, which gave them even more exposure and grew their channels even more. He was then even featured onto a YouTube Red series called The Fight of the Living Dead, where multiple people compete in a story and challenge each other. And Team 10 had got a new mansion and had brought alongside of mini Jake Paul, as many fans liked it because many of Jake Paul's audience was kids and mini Jake Paul was a kid. However, the Martinez twins, who was the members of Team 10, had left. And there were other people who had left unnoticedly, but the Martinez twins had made a video exposing Jake Paul for what they had to go through while being a part of Team 10.
So imagine you, little kid, from Spain or from another part of this world, that you go to LA, you don't even talk English. Just imagine, I want you to guys imagine that. You go to somewhere that no one talks Spanish or your language, and you see people in the house laughing, and you don't even know what they're talking about. Yeah. And then you find out that we're talking bullshit about you. They're laughing at you every single day. Yeah. So yeah, guys, we were really upset. We're really upset. Yeah. We used to love you, Jake.
This ultimately bring back Jake Paul's public image back to where it was. And this made many people not want to join Team 10 and made many other members start to leave. And Nick Crumpton had said that the pranks were pre-planned and the Martinez twins already knew, but more people believed the Martinez twins. After what he did to Alyssa Violet and FaZe Banks, no one was believing him. However, at the end of 2017, Logan Paul had made one of the dumbest decisions of his YouTube career. He had uploaded a video where he visited the Japan suicide forest and he had filmed a dead body uncensored. And this not only destroyed Logan Paul's public image, but this would not help Jake Paul's image. And people despised the Paul brothers. And then at the beginning of 2018, Jake Paul got criticized for uploading a video titled, "I Lost My Virginity," and it has a pretty graphic thumbnail for younger kids to see. This video was immediately age restricted. And then in February of 2018, KSI had challenged the Paul brothers to a boxing match. Another creator, Deji, had roasted and insulted Jake Paul, and then Jake Paul got mad and confronted Deji with boxing gloves, and then Deji declined, saying that's not a good time to do it. So this turned into a family versus fight. The Deji versus Jake Paul and Logan Paul versus KSI's boxing match was confirmed, which was originally scheduled on February but then got pushed back to August 25th. And then Jake Paul had announced that he was taking a break from his vlogs. So in the meantime, Jake Paul was going on tour and training for his boxing matches. And Jake Paul did not have that much time to do daily vlogs anymore, as he was mainly focusing on training for his boxing matches. And Jake Paul was even saying how much he was going to knock out Deji. So on August 25th, the fight was located in the UK, and viewers could watch the stream on YouTube or not have to pay. You could view it on Twitch. As I'm on YouTube, you'd have to pay at least $10 to watch it. And by the end of the match, Jake Paul had won by a technical knockout. And it was kind of a good thing for Jake, because he was getting hated throughout 2018, and this was a much needed win for him. So after Jake won this, he immediately wanted to do more boxing matches. However, this win would only be short-lived, as his reputation would get even worse. As of on December of 2018, Jake Paul had made a video promoting a mystery box gambling website, and this website was a scam, and he was promoting this to kids. The website would eventually get shut down from all the negative attention it was receiving. And not only did Jake Paul do this, many other content creators did this. And this would ultimately become Jake Paul's first scandal in his whole career. And in 2019, Jake Paul would really begin getting into music while also trying to do boxing. Jake Paul was beginning to get an older audience. So then this began Team 10 Uncut. And all of the original Team 10 members were gone. And this show would have an older viewer base. And then it was later found out that Tana Mojo was sleeping with Jake Paul, who was another content creator. And of course with this, Jake Paul found this way to clickbait their relationship. And then Jake Paul would propose to her on June 24th, 2019. And then later on in June, Jake Paul and Tana would be getting married at a wedding. However, they wouldn't actually be getting married, as the wedding would be confirmed fake. When this was confirmed fake, it was also confirmed that Jake's viewer base and just his YouTube statistics was going downhill. And for viewers to view this fake wedding that they didn't know at the time, they would have to pay $50 just to view the live stream. And fans were upset with Jake, as the wedding live stream was in poor quality and choppy. And then hitting 2020, probably one of the most craziest years for Jake Paul. The awful virus COVID-19 had hit it in early 2020, and the Black Lives Matter riots started happening. And in one of the riots in Arizona, Jake Paul is seen next to people looting a PF Chang, and was even gave a bottle of vodka. And then he began hosting big, huge parties during a pandemic. And then worst of all, had his house completely raided by the FBI, mainly due to him trespassing during the Black Lives Matter riots. And many guns were found all around in Jake's house, which only tarnished his reputation even more, which only caused his views to go downhill.
Have a phone call like with my lawyers for one of the lawsuits, and I knew that it was gonna be like a big L, and it, like I'm just sitting on the phone call for literally like something I did not do. Like it's and it goes back to like people just like attacking Jake Paul and like wanting to see me fail for literally like fucking nothing. Like they're suing me for something I didn't do. Like, on God, it's just the most bullshit thing. And I literally had to pay them a lot of fucking money for no reason. And I'm like, it just pisses me the fuck off. And then
you're good. Take a break. Take a break.
Yeah, take a breather.
We
can sit for a second. Why don't you
And I could be wrong. Maybe with Jake starting his boxing career, he can actually learn from the mistakes he's done. And Jake Paul off camera is probably a great and respectful person, but then when he's on the internet, his personality and his character completely just switches. Jake Paul has had a train wreck of a career. He started getting big at just 16 years old. And just maybe with Jake Paul starting a new career, he can actually learn from all the bad things he's done, like his brother.